Hello, welcome to Animes, another weekly roundup of AmiAmi figure releases. This will be from the 15th of April to the 20th of April, which we'll get into. This is just going to be scale figures. If you could please comment, like, and subscribe. Definitely comment if any improvements I could do. And links for all these figures we look at will be in the description down below. Here's the top 10 that we can look at that are on AmiAmi's most pre-ordered ranking for this week at least. We'll get straight into the figures. Mega Soft Vinyl Kaiju number 8 pre-order single shipment by Kyoto for 29,700 yen, October 2024 release. Kaiju number 8 seems like it's going to be quite a popular anime, so I'm glad they're getting a figure out of at least Kaiju number 8 pretty quickly. Not watched the first couple of episodes yet. I really should go watch it. This looks pretty well detailed as well. Scale wise, they don't give a scale, but he stands at 550 centimeters in height, so he's going to be taller than most quarter scales, so it'll be quite large figure, so I can understand him being nearly 30,000 yen. But it looks pretty well detailed. There we go. So nearly the height of most average adult torsos. So very large figure. So I can definitely understand people might want this, especially if they're doing like an attack, if they've got some Attack on Titan figures as well. It would fit in quite well there. It's quite an imposing figure and the equivalent to like some statues you might get, but obviously for a very good price. Yeah, it looks like really good overall. Definitely if you really enjoyed Kaiju number 8 and you really enjoyed the manga, then definitely get this figure. Space Police illustrated by Kink 1/6 by Lovely for 29,870 yen. This is a cast-offable figure, so you just have to be a bit wary about that. But yeah, it's a very obviously lewd-esque figure that of a very skimpily dressed policewoman. Quite attractive. I think a lot of people will potentially be getting this or keeping an eye out for this. The overall sculpt looks really good. Shading on the tights looks really well done. And I do like the overall design. It's a very good looking figure. And I think Lovely, obviously one of those manufacturers that seem to nail these cast off figures anyways. So I think you've got no problems in terms of quality. And that's January 2025. Berserk Guts Black Swordsman version on 7th by Medicos Entertainment for 26,730 yen. November 2024. So he's coming out in about 6 months. This one's obviously, if you don't want the him in his Berserk armor, then I would definitely get this one. This one seems to be the best Guts figure out there without going for the Berserk armor ones. The Berserk armor ones are just quite nice because it's easier. There's not as much detail. It's easier, I guess, on the Berserk armor because it's all similar paneling for detailing, whereas with Guts, he's obviously in his armor, he's got the throwing knives, he's got his arm cannon, which they've actually call it, so his hand is actually firing a shot, which is really good. His face looks like it's actually out of the older anime, in my mind, so the 1990s anime rather than the 3D CGI bollocks ones. But so this one looks a bit more authentic in my mind. So yeah, very good figure of Guts. Probably one of I would say the best one that we've got of Guts from Berserk, without getting like the pop-up XL, which is what I've got back there. That's the one I prefer. I don't need to get this figure really, but if you really do like Berserk, then I would get this figure. And I think he's definitely well worth the price. Movie masterpiece diecast Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice 1/6. Armored Batman 2.0 by Hot Toys, 44,160 yen. I include these ones because obviously there are people out there that want to get Western IP figures. This is more, obviously with it being on AmiAmi, it's more for people who are in Japan who want to get a hold of them, but Japan are a distributor. If you can get if this ends up being cheaper getting it from AmiAmi than from your own figure retailers in your own countries, because I would expect Hot Toys to be big in America, obviously, and they probably are sellers that sell Marvel and comic book figures in Europe and the UK anyways. So you might get a better price doing it that way rather than getting it from AmiAmi. I just thought I'd include it here in case if it ends up being more viable to get it here. Obviously, you have to take into account shipment costs, with it being from Japan to then get it to you, and potential import costs, especially for Europe and UK. That's the only thing you have to be worried about, is paying VAT basically here in the UK. I think in America you don't have to pay taxes for imports, which you're really lucky for. So yeah, but yeah, he looks like pretty good overall. I like the sculpting on this one. I think all the Hot Toys ones, detail-wise, have been really good. So it's just, I thought at least cover them as an option. Arknights Amiya new scale version 1/7 by Good Smile Art Shanghai for 19,300 yen. I don't play Arknights, so I don't know how good this figure is overall, but the detailing looks really well done. The fact that they actually put the print on the newspapers, at least on the top one, and it looks like on the back of the stack I think they've got some text as well. So yeah, it looks really good. It's a very nice looking figure overall for October 2024 release. Standing at 25 centimeters in height, so decent height for this, and the base is obviously not like a simple circle one, which is good, so I like that. Minori Chigusa illustration, Shino Satomi complete figure by Union Creative, 21,240 yen, December 2024 release. Swimsuit figure, not sure. Shinnoren series, don't know, I've not watched the series. Looks pretty cute overall. Hair sculpt looks pretty impressive on this one, although it looks like there is a seam that we can see here of the rear hair piece and the front piece. If that means she has multiple face plates, main base, and a float. So it looks like a pretty simple design overall, pretty simple concept. Floats, seems like a lot of manufacturers have been getting the floats down correct with the opaque plastic, at least. Or at least acrylic to make these, so they're making them quite realistic these days. Swimsuit looks pretty good. Relatively minimal shading obviously on her skin tones with this one, but the sculpting with these strands on the side here look pretty well done, so not a bad price. Fumi Chloe 1/6 by Charm for 28,970 yen, October 2024. So it looks like a succubus in a chair in a very alluring pose, which looks quite good. The chair is a bit simple compared to other chairs we've seen on other figures, and this is a cast-off figure. Yep, I think cast-off, or was it swappable? Cast-off. So yeah, an alternative torso part. So it's not a torso swap-out basically. So even though it says cast-off, it's not really cast-off. It's you swap out the main torso, so she's not wearing any clothes in the torso section in the nether region. So it's a lolly succubus in a chair for 29,000 yen. It's fine, I suppose. The hair sculpting looks really well done in this, with it draping over the chair, but that's about it in terms of what's exceptional about this figure. Azulane Taiyo still illustration version, court scale by Alpha Max for 37,170 yen. January 2025 release. It is Taiyo, and Azulane, she's very well endowed, obviously. I do like this figure, but it's by Alpha Max. I don't know how good their court scales are. I think I prefer the Taiyo that Mythos have done, and I think that one's actually a little bit cheaper than this anyways, so I don't know why Alpha Max are charging this amount of money for this, considering this is actually more expensive than some binding figures that you get, which obviously cast generally, well, all the binding figures are cast offable. So this one I would expect to dump in price on release, really, or shortly after release, to probably 30 or 28,000 yen, something like that, because like her hair sculpt looks pretty good. You might be able to force cast off the front end like you can do with the other Taiyo, the racing one version. It looks like people have cast up forcefully cast off that, so you might be able to force cast off this. And the hair is sort of semi-transparent on the tips, it looks like, unless that's just red tinting that they've done, but it's like semi-translucent at the ends, which might put off some people. The overall sculpt looks pretty good. The tights shading might be a bit a bit wash with it being very pink shading here. I'm not too sure about that, but apart from that, the overall figure's not too bad, but not worth 37,000 yen. So I think Alpha Max have, I don't know what they're doing with this, unfortunately. Data Live Natsumi DX version, 1/7 by Belfine for 24,110 yen. Coming out in October 2024. You don't get a lot of the the other girls from Data Live series. It's always Kurumi or well, Kurumi's basically the main one that there's loads of versions out for. So when we do get the other girls, it's worth getting them if you do like Data Live series. And this one looks really well done. Obviously the base follows her aesthetic of being pumpkin Halloween-esque. At least her in her adult version and form, anyways. She's obviously in the anime, not always in her adult form. The shading looks really well done. The outfit being a skin tight, like latex aesthetic, it looks really well done. And then the little parts of the outfits look really good. Hair looks fine as well. So I think this is good, and I think for 24,000 yen is not a bad price as well. Yeah, and with the base being a bit more dynamic and that Halloween-esque, yeah, you're sort of locked into it being Halloween themed rather than just having her by herself. But I think most people prefer to have extra environmental effects basically on the base rather than her just having her on a standard like round base. It's got nothing extra going on, so I can see why people would prefer this. Cat Ear Sutoru illustration by Tamako Kadama, quarter scale. By Party Look, 35,210 yen. It's another quarter scale, so this is sort of a cat maid-esque aesthetic, I guess, or BDSM style. Looks and very obviously small chest Lolita style. Looks like you get multiple faceplates with this one, so that's a good bonus. Sculpt looks pretty good overall. Tail looks nicely detailed. It's quite a nice looking figure overall, and is fully cast off, so that's another bonus for a lot of people. 35,000 yen, potentially worth it. If you follow this artist, then potentially get this one, but it's not something I would be getting, unfortunately. I prefer more well endowed or more curvy girls rather than flat chest, unfortunately. I'm not part of the flat chest club. Talking of not being part of the flat chest club, Bunny Steen Fantasy Summary Bunny version, quarter scale, by Binding for 39,600 yen. So in terms of with Binding being on AmiAmi is a plus, I think, in my mind, from what I can tell. I'll be doing a video to do with talking about Binding figures being on AmiAmi soon, so keep an eye out for that video. But yeah, bunny suit, OC design, well endowed, fully cast offable as well. So yeah, you can fully remove her. It's a very nice looking figure. I would probably get them if you were going to get the set. If you're planning to get all four, then I would buy them individually. I'm not going to get any of these of the Bunny Stein fantasy lineup, because I was tempted to get this one on the left, but missed the pre-order window, and then yeah, I'm not going to go ahead and try and get all four of them, so that's fine by me, because that's money I'm saving. But yeah, very nice looking figure. The sculpting looks really well done. Like the armpit sculpting here is just off the chain, and the way they, these tights are gripping their legs and the thighs, it's really well done. Binding just know what they're doing. That's why you pretty much there's a Binding figure that you can pre-order and you like the look of, just buy it generally, and they pretty much always go up in price afterwards, so it's not exactly a bad investment. If you do, a few months after getting her or getting them, then you lose interest in it, then you can at least sell it on and cover your cost at least. Obviously, with it being in the UK, I'd have to pay VAT on top of this price. Digstar, Like a Dragon, Goro Majima, Battles Style, complete figure, by Dig for 8,980 yen. October 2024 release. It's Goro from Like a Dragon. Not played it. apparently it's a really good game, so I really should get around to playing that. Might wait till it goes on sale, so it might be another year or so before I get around to that. But the sculpt looks really good. I think for 9,000 yen figure, this is really well done, and the way they've done the tats. Although I would expect these tats to be sort of laid on there and then sprayed on. It'll be like a decal or something. So no, very good looking figure. Bochi the Rock, Hitori Goto, 1/7 by Aniplex for 22,000 yen. Very good looking Bochi the Rock ones. I don't think this is a re-release. I think this is the stand is fine, although I'm pretty sure I've seen similar Bochi the Rock figures to this style before with similar bases. But yeah, this looks really well done. Tells you everything about Bochi the Rock. That's a musical band anime, and very appealing as well with the backdrop. So very good looking figure, and I think what a steal for 22,000 yen with such a dynamic base that they've got going on here. Anime Sinful Nun, 72 Sigils of Solomon Angel, Crucial complete figure by Good Smile Company for 25,900 yen. So it's a cosplayer who cosplayed this design, and then Good Smile have obviously taken the rights and paid for the rights and done a figure of this one of her. This is the second one they've done. Her first one was Pet Girlfriend, which I was potentially going to get, but I've never got around to pre-ordering it. Sort of cancelled that one, unfortunately. This one's one that I'm potentially would like to get as well. Very good looking figure. I do like the oval design in this one, and with it being coming from a cosplayer who I do follow, she's quite good. I do like her cosplays a lot. So very nice looking figure. February 2025 release. It is a 1/6, so it's selling at 30 centimeters tall. Since they didn't put a scale up here, I thought I'd at least mention that. Single shipment though, so you got to mention you can't combine this with any other orders, unfortunately. Sylphina special version, illustration by Kakizuki, 1/6. Manufacturer Pink Mango for 26,110 yen. 120 yen, sorry. November 2024. So this is not a cast-offable figure. This is one where you have a swappable torso, basically upper chest area and lower area, to have a fully unclothed, shall we say. But yeah, very curvy figure. I do love the cape design in this one as well, where it's like 4 or 5 different strands, so where it's like this, drops off into these 6 different tails coming off for the cloak instead. Much more unique, definitely much more dynamic. This is a figure I would potentially be wanting to get a hold of, as I'm seeing a lot more of these sorts of nun aesthetic figures or fantasy dress priestesses coming out over the past few months, or at least this first bit of this year, for decent prices. So if I'm going to be getting them, then I'll probably be adding this to my bookmarks. But yeah, very worth getting hold of. Pink Mango, probably a Chinese manufacturer, so I've not heard of. So it'll be interesting to see what the quality is like when she does get into people's hands. So keep an eye on MFC for that. 1/6, decent size, which we've been seeing a lot more 1/6 than 1/7 over the past few months. Mike Timu U, 1/7, but for 20,790 yen, and I have no idea who that manufacturer is. This one's just a very cute made figure, to be honest. Definitely well endowed, very short dress, very just simple and very alluring design. Definitely worth getting hold of, I think. Not cast off or anything like that, but it's just a very appealing figure, really. August 2024. Definitely, I think worth getting. It's just very simple and very cute. Teletol, Detective Conan Edogawa, complete figure by 5,140 yen. Very old anime. Not watched Conan, but I've definitely heard of it. I know it's one of the older, longer series anime that I don't even know if it's still run, but it's a very much older series. Worth getting a hold of, since you don't see a lot of these, obviously, these days, with it being based on a much older anime series. Shinobi Master, Senran Kagura. New Link Ryobi Shinobi Transformation. Bunny Court Scale. For 36,300 yen, this is a cast-offable Fring, which we don't get a lot of, but we've been having a lot more this year of cast-offable Fring figures than in the past, like 2 years I've been covering figures, at least, releases. So this year we've had quite a few that have announced that they've been heavily implied to be cast-offable, or they do mention cast-offable from Fring. Like this one does mention being cast-offable. But this is the second version of this character, because there is a one that I covered a few weeks ago where she doesn't have such a large chest area. So I don't know, some people are a bit miffed about there being two versions, but some people might double down and buy both versions anyways. The overall suit design looks really good. I think I probably would get the large chest one, which I think is something to do in the anime and Senran Kagura, where there's some transformational something and she has a larger chest. So the fact that they did both versions, I guess they can cheap out a bit, because the overall sculpt now looks the same. They just changed the proportions for this version, so they can pricing isn't being 44,000 yen, where you would expect it to be 44,000 yen for a well-endowed female character that is cast-offable as well. That's October 2024. That time I got reincarnated as Slime, Shion Changing Clothes mode on the 7th by Q's Q, is a recastable figure. Sorry, is a re-release, not cast-offable, re-release, 14,770 yen, which I actually do own up here. So she is a very nice looking figure. I think definitely worth getting a hold of. If you missed out on getting her beforehand, definitely worth getting. I would say it's one of the better Shion figures. This one looks like it's got slightly better shading on the hair, at least these in the photos compared to my one, because this one's very flat on the hair tones, unfortunately, whereas this one you can actually see there's a lot more in depth. So they might have done a slight better paint job on this one. I would probably have to wait and see when this one gets re-released, but this is a re-release, they're saying, somewhere from one wherever it's a re-release, because it's identical to this one. Yeah, no, it's a very nice looking figure, and I do like the changing modes that we've been getting with these other characters, like the Mushoku Tensei. We've got some changing mode ones as well. Atelier Riser, or the Atelier gaming series, some of their characters, they've been in changing mode as well. Embarrassing poses where they're changing clothes. I do like the concept. So yeah, definitely worth getting a hold of, and for a good price. Rose illustration by Taco, 1/6 by Bear Panda for 8,000 yen. Pardon me, for 8,000 yen, which has a realistic fur tail in this one, for a foxy lady. Bikini aesthetic, very cute looking figure. I think this is a bit interesting with it being a real fur tail. Only problem is going to be dust collection on this one, is trying to keep it clean. So this one is the sort of figure you definitely want to put in a glass cabinet, that's also got dust protection around the door seals to just minimize as much dust getting onto this figure as possible. But for 8,000 yen is a really good price. January 2025. I'm probably not going to get a hold of this one, but I can see why people would be wanting to get this one. Yeah, it's a nice design, very good looking figure. Finally, we've got Succubus Black tie illustration by Kadama Tamano, 1/6, and manufacturer of Tuburasu or Orchid Seed for 20,900 yen. So another Lolita Succubus figure, which is fully cast offable, in a exposed position, on a simple base. So you're paying for the figure really, with it being cast offable and a dark tan skin Succubus. I think a lot of people obviously like the dark skin or tan skin figures. I do as well, suck for those. But yeah, I'm not gonna get this sort of flat-chested Lolita succubus. Unfortunately, it's not something that I'm wanting in my collection or looking for in my figures. But you know, I can understand this is a very good looking. Some people would like this to have this in this collection, especially if they are doing like succubus themed shelves or other figures that they've got other succubus themed figures in their collection already. That does it for this video. And please comment, like, and subscribe. Links for these figures will be in the description down below. And the following video to this one will be the Nendroids for this week. So please watch that video if you don't mind. And thank you for watching through the whole video and getting to this part. And thank you very much. I'll catch you in another video. Bye.